My brother grabbed a knife at his 10th wedding anniversary party, pointed it at my pregnant wife, and screamed, "This is my moment." When I stepped between them, he snarled, "You stole my life and my future." I thought he was drunk. That was 11 months ago. Last week, police found a fully furnished nursery in a storage unit rented under a fake name, cribs, monitors, bottles, with my unborn daughter's name painted on the wall. But when they searched his apartment, they found something worse, a fake birth certificate listing him and his wife as parents. My brother had been planning to kidnap my baby. His wife wasn't just enabling him. She was infertile and desperate. And the anniversary party meltdown was because my wife's pregnancy announcement ruined their plan to pretend my daughter was theirs. What's up everyone, I'm Michael Torres, I'm 32 years old, and I'm about to tell you the most disturbing, terrifying, and ultimately heartbreaking story about family, mental illness, obsession, and the moment I discovered my own brother was planning to kidnap my daughter. This is not a revenge story. This is a survival story. This is a story about recognizing danger before it's too late and protecting your family from someone you never thought you'd have to protect them from. Before we start, I need you to understand something. I loved my brother. We were close growing up. What happened wasn't about hatred or rivalry. It was about untreated mental illness, desperation, and two people who convinced each other that something unthinkable was acceptable. Let me start at the beginning. My brother, David, is 35 years old. 3 years older than me. Growing up, we were best friends. We played sports together, went to the same college, stayed close even as adults. David was always the more successful one, better grades, better job, married first. I was happy for him. David married his wife, Lauren, 8 years ago. They seemed perfect together. Both successful professionals. David's a financial analyst, Lauren's a marketing director. They bought a beautiful house, took amazing vacations, had everything figured out. The one thing they didn't have? Kids. It wasn't for lack of trying. Lauren had been open with me and my wife, Emma, about their fertility struggles. 3 rounds of IVF, all failed. Multiple miscarriages. Thousands of dollars spent. Years of heartbreak. By the time Emma and I got married 4 years ago, David and Lauren had stopped trying. They'd accepted they wouldn't have biological children and were exploring adoption. Emma and I weren't trying to get pregnant. We'd been married a year when Emma found out she was expecting. It was unexpected but wonderful. We were thrilled. I called David to tell him the news, nervous about how he'd react given his and Lauren's struggles. "Bro, that's amazing," he said. "Congratulations. Lauren and I are so happy for you guys." He seemed genuine. They threw us a baby shower. They were excited when our son, Mason, was born. David was a great uncle, showing up for birthdays, teaching Mason to throw a baseball, being present. I thought everything was fine. 3 years later, Emma got pregnant again. This time, we found out early that we were having a girl. We were ecstatic. Mason would have a little sister. Around the same time, David and Lauren announced they were planning a big celebration for their 10th wedding anniversary. After all the fertility struggles and heartbreak, they wanted to celebrate what they built together, even if it wasn't the family they'd originally planned. It made sense. A milestone anniversary. A celebration of their marriage despite the hardships. We were supportive. They planned a huge anniversary party for early December. Emma was 6 months pregnant at that point, clearly showing. The party was at David and Lauren's house. 50 guests, catered food, open bar, the whole thing. Emma and I arrived with Mason, who was 3 and obsessed with superheroes. Everything seemed normal at first. People were mingling, congratulating David and Lauren, celebrating their love story. Then someone asked Emma when she was due. "March," Emma said, smiling and touching her belly. "We're having a girl. We're going to name her Lily." I watched David's face change. Just for a second. A flash of something dark. Then it was gone. Lauren's face went pale. She excused herself and went to the bathroom. An hour later, we were all gathered in the living room. David was about to give a toast. He had a champagne glass in one hand. But his other hand grabbed the cake knife from the dessert table. "I just want to say something," David said, his voice too loud. People turned to listen. "This is my moment. Mine and Lauren's. We waited 10 years for this celebration. 10 years of trying, failing, suffering. And now," he pointed the knife at Emma, "now she shows up pregnant. Again. Flaunting it. Taking attention away from us." The room went silent. "David," I said carefully, stepping in front of Emma. "Put the knife down. You don't get it," David shouted. "You stole my life. You have everything. A son, a daughter on the way, the perfect family. And what do we have? Nothing. You took our future." "I didn't take anything from you," I said, keeping my voice calm. "Put the knife down and let's talk about this. You stole my babies. That should be my daughter. My family. But you always get everything, don't you, Michael? Always the favorite. Always the lucky one." Lauren appeared then, grabbing David's arm. David, stop. Please. Not here. He pulled away from her. Why not here? Why can't I say the truth? That it's not fair? That they don't deserve what we can't have? Security, hired for the party, was moving toward David. I grabbed Emma and Mason and pulled them back. David dropped the knife suddenly and started crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. Lauren led him away. The party ended abruptly. Guests left quickly, whispering. Emma was shaken. Michael, what was that? I don't know. I think the fertility stuff has messed with his head more than we realized. He threatened me with a knife. I know. I'll talk to him. But when I tried to call David the next day, he didn't answer. Neither did Lauren. I sent texts. Emails. Nothing. Finally, Lauren called me back a week later. Michael, David is going through something. He's started therapy. He's on medication. What happened at the party, it wasn't him. It was years of grief and frustration coming out in the worst possible way. Please give us some space. He's embarrassed and working on himself. Lauren, he threatened my pregnant wife with a knife. I know. And he's horrified by what he did. He's getting help. Please, just give us time. Against my better judgment, I agreed to give them space. But Emma wanted nothing to do with them. I don't feel safe around him, she said. Something was wrong with the way he looked at me. At my belly. Like he hated our baby. He's getting help, I said. Let's just stay away for now. We did. We didn't see or speak to David and Lauren for the rest of Emma's pregnancy. In March, Emma gave birth to our daughter, Lily. She was perfect. Healthy, beautiful, everything we'd hoped for. I called David to tell him. Left a voicemail. Hey, Lily was born. She's healthy. I wanted you to know. Maybe when you're ready, you can meet her. He didn't respond. Months passed. Mason started preschool. Lily grew and thrived. We moved on with our lives without David and Lauren in them. Then, last week, I got a call from a detective. Mr. Torres? This is Detective Sarah Chen. I need to ask you some questions about your brother, David Torres. My blood ran cold. Is he okay? Did something happen? We need you to come down to the station. There's been a situation. I met with Detective Chen that afternoon. She sat me down in an interview room and pulled out a folder. Mr. Torres, are you aware that your brother rented a storage unit under an assumed name 6 months ago? No. Why would I know that? The storage facility had a break-in last week. Several units were damaged. When police were documenting the damage, they entered your brother's unit and found something concerning. She pulled out photos. Crime scene photos. The storage unit was set up as a nursery. A complete nursery. 2 cribs. A changing table. Shelves full of diapers, bottles, clothes. A rocking chair. Toys. Everything you'd need for a newborn. And on the wall, painted in pink letters, Lily. My daughter's name. What the hell is this? I whispered. We were hoping you could tell us. We obtained a warrant for your brother's home and found more concerning items. She showed me more photos. A fake birth certificate listing David Torres and Lauren Torres as parents of Lily Torres. Born March 15th, my daughter's actual birthday. Medical records, fabricated, showing Lauren had given birth. A folder labeled plan with notes about the hospital where Emma delivered, the security protocols, our home address, our daily routines. My hands were shaking. Are you telling me my brother was planning to kidnap my daughter? That's what it looks like. We've arrested David and Lauren. They're both being charged with conspiracy to kidnap, among other charges. We need you to tell us everything you know about their state of mind, any threats they made, any concerning behavior. I told her everything. The engagement party. The knife. The months of silence. The fertility struggles. Has your brother or Lauren had any contact with your daughter since her birth? No. We cut them off after the party. They haven't even met Lily. That's probably what saved her. If they'd had access, if you trusted them to babysit, this could have ended very differently. I felt sick. How was this supposed to work? How did they think they could steal my daughter and pretend she was theirs? According to the documents we found, they were planning to move out of state. Lauren had already applied for jobs in Colorado. They'd rented an apartment there. The plan was to take Lily, we believe during a visit or by breaking into your home, and immediately drive to Colorado. The fake birth certificate would help them establish new identities. They were going to claim they'd had a home birth and had simply been delayed in filing paperwork. This is insane. The concerning part is that Lauren appeared to believe it would work. She told her family she was pregnant. She'd been wearing a fake pregnancy belly. She'd had a fake baby shower. Everyone thought she was expecting. What? Your brother's plan was elaborate. But Lauren's participation suggests she was either complicit or experiencing a severe psychotic break. We're still evaluating her mental state. Over the next week, more details emerged. Lauren had been diagnosed with severe depression after her last failed IVF. She'd stopped taking her medication without telling anyone. She'd become obsessed with the idea of having a baby, any baby. When Emma announced her pregnancy at the engagement party, something in Lauren snapped. She convinced herself that if she couldn't have a baby, she deserved Emma's baby. That Lily should be hers. David, desperate to make Lauren happy and dealing with his own unresolved grief, had gone along with it. He'd rationalized it. Michael already has a son. He doesn't need a daughter too. We need her more. The knife incident at the party had been a breaking point. David had been drinking, his inhibitions lowered, and he'd expressed what he'd been feeling, rage that his brother had what he couldn't have. After the party, instead of getting real help, David and Lauren had doubled down. They'd started planning. The storage unit. The fake documents. The move to Colorado. They'd been following us. Taking photos of our house, our schedules. They knew when Emma took Lily to the park. When I went to work. When we'd be vulnerable. The plan was supposed to happen last month. They were going to break into our house while we were at my parents' Thanksgiving dinner. They'd take Lily, leave a note claiming she'd been kidnapped by a stranger, and disappear. But the storage unit break-in had exposed everything before they could act. The trial was 6 months later. David and Lauren both pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. The defense argued they'd both experienced psychotic breaks driven by fertility trauma. The prosecution argued it was premeditated kidnapping. The storage unit, the fake documents, the surveillance, all of it showed planning, not insanity. I had to testify. I had to sit in a courtroom and describe how my brother, my best friend growing up, had planned to steal my daughter. Emma testified too. She described the knife incident, how she'd felt threatened, how she told me something was wrong with David. Lauren's sister testified for the defense, describing Lauren's downward spiral after the last miscarriage. How she'd stopped eating, stopped sleeping, become obsessed with baby items. David's therapist testified that David had never disclosed the plan, had lied about his progress, and had used therapy as a way to appear normal while actually escalating his planning. The jury deliberated for 3 days. Guilty. Both of them. Conspiracy to kidnap, stalking, breaking and entering, they tested our locks multiple times, and falsifying documents. David was sentenced to 12 years. Lauren was sentenced to 10 years with mandatory psychiatric treatment. My parents were devastated. They'd lost a son to mental illness and criminal behavior. They'd nearly lost a granddaughter to kidnapping. We didn't see it, my mother kept saying. How did we not see what he was planning? Because he hid it, I said. Because he and Lauren convinced each other it was okay. That they deserved Lily more than we did. The question everyone kept asking was, how could this happen? How could two educated, successful people convince themselves that kidnapping was acceptable? The answer, according to the psychiatric experts, was complicated. David had untreated depression and unresolved grief. Lauren had untreated psychiatric issues related to her infertility. Together, they created what psychologists call shared psychotic disorder, where two people reinforce each other's delusions until they both believe something objectively false. They'd convinced each other that taking Lily was justice. That we didn't deserve her. That they needed her to be whole. It wasn't logical. It wasn't sane. But in their shared reality, it made perfect sense. The aftermath was brutal. Emma had nightmares for months. She'd wake up convinced someone was in Lily's room. We installed a security system, cameras, motion sensors. We moved to a different neighborhood. Mason, now 4, asked why Uncle David was gone. We told him the truth in age-appropriate terms. Uncle David got sick in his mind and made bad choices. He's somewhere getting help. Lily is now 18 months old. She'll never remember any of this. But we'll have to tell her someday. When she's older, she'll need to know that her uncle tried to kidnap her. That her aunt wanted to pretend to be her mother. My relationship with my parents is strained. They still visit David in prison. They believe he's sick, not evil. That he needs family support. I believe he's both. Sick, yes. But also responsible for his choices. Mental illness explains behavior, it doesn't excuse it. I haven't visited David. I don't plan to. He wrote me letters from prison. I haven't opened them. Lauren's family blames me and Emma. They say if we'd been more sensitive to Lauren's struggles, if we hadn't flaunted Emma's pregnancy, Lauren wouldn't have broken. I don't accept that. Emma's pregnancy wasn't a weapon. We weren't rubbing anything in anyone's face. We were just living our lives. The scariest part of all this? We almost let them babysit. 2 months before the engagement party, before everything fell apart, Lauren had offered to watch Mason for a weekend so Emma and I could have a date night. We'd said yes. We planned it. But then Mason got sick and we canceled. If he hadn't gotten sick. If we'd left him with Lauren and David. If they'd had access to our kids. I don't let myself think about it too much. But sometimes I wake up in cold sweats imagining what could have happened. So here's what I learned from all of this. 1. Trust your instincts. Emma told me something was wrong with David after the knife incident. I should have listened more seriously. I should have cut contact immediately. 2. Mental illness is serious. David and Lauren both needed real, intensive help. Instead, they hid their symptoms and fed each other's delusions. 3. Fertility trauma is real and devastating. But it doesn't give anyone the right to someone else's child. David and Lauren's pain was real, but their solution was criminal. 4. You can love someone and still protect yourself from them. I loved my brother. I still do, in a complicated way. But I'll never let him near my family again. And 5. Sometimes the people who seem most normal are hiding the darkest thoughts. David and Lauren were successful, intelligent, functional adults. No one suspected they were planning a kidnapping. But they were. Lily is safe now. Mason is safe. Emma and I are healing, slowly. But I think about that storage unit sometimes. The crib set up and ready. My daughter's name painted on the wall. The bottles and diapers waiting for a baby who was never meant to be theirs. And I think about how close we came to losing her. David gets out in 9 years if he serves his full sentence. Lily will be 10 years old. Old enough to understand what happened. Old enough to be scared. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, we focus on keeping our family safe, healthy, and together. Thanks for watching, everyone. If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe. Drop a comment about a time your gut instinct protected someone you love. Look, I get it, cutting off family feels impossible. You make excuses. You give second chances. You think they'd never actually do anything. I thought all those things too. That knife incident should have been the end. But I wanted to believe my brother was just hurting, not dangerous. I wanted to believe therapy would fix everything. I wanted to believe blood meant safety. Emma knew better. She felt it immediately. And I almost ignored her. Here's what I wish someone had told me back then: when someone shows you who they are, especially toward your kids, believe them the first time. Not the second. Not after they've gotten help. The first time. We got lucky. A random storage unit break-in exposed everything before they could act. But luck isn't a protection plan. So if you're in a situation where someone makes you uncomfortable around your children, even family, especially family, you're not overreacting by setting boundaries. You're not being dramatic. You're being a parent. That's it. That's all I've got. Stay safe out there.